Hi, good morning. Here we are in the New Albany Community Kitchen again in support of the New Albany Food Pantry. Today I want to go over with you the recipe that's going to be in this week's bundle bag. The bundle bag is a meal kit that we put together with items we have in the pantry, and what we also hope to do is teach you, maybe give you a couple new ideas of what to do with what we're getting. So in this week's bag, you're going to actually get a can of corn, a can of Campbell's soup, which is a vegetarian vegetable. You're going to get a tomato and a lemon and some pasta, gluten-free pasta. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a recipe that they've come up with called creamy corn and tomato pasta. So very interesting. Oftentimes we have these cans in the pantry and we think, other than having a bowl of soup, what can we do with it? So let me show you, to give you an idea about this Campbell's soup especially. So what I did was I went ahead and I cooked some 8 ounces of pasta ahead of time, and I drained it, and as I was draining it, I saved a little bit of this pasta water. Reason being, we may use it later in the recipe to keep things, to get things a little bit more thick and tasty. This water, by virtue of the salt that's added and the starch from the pasta when you boil it, is really a good thickening agent for a sauce that you're making. So it'll give your pasta sauce or your noodle dish a little bit more character and thickness. So what I'm going to do first is, with my pre-boiled pasta, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my pasta in to my pan after I added a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to use my spoon to break up the pasta, and as this heats, it'll break up a little bit more. So as the pasta is heating, we're going to go ahead and think about adding the other ingredients. What I'm going to add first, we're going to go ahead and add to there some lemon juice, our soup, our caramelized corn that we have from the can, 1 chopped tomato, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, some basil and cilantro, and then we're going to season it with salt and pepper, and we're going to add a little bit of milk, again, to give it a little bit of thickness, and those are the ingredients we're going to add. So first, let me show you. The recipe actually calls for a tablespoon of lemon juice and the zest from a lemon. You'll often see that we add a citrus fruit, a lemon, to the bags. I like it because no matter what you're making, it can really give flavor and depth to what you're making. So the key to a lemon is there's 2 parts that are important for us when we're cooking, and that's the yellow part on the outside, which is the peel, and when you remove the peel only, that's what we refer to as the zest. So I have this little tool that's kind of like a thick sandpaper almost, and if you rub it onto the fruit this way, you can easily remove just the yellow part of the lemon. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that into my dish. I'm then going to cut my lemon in half, and I have a little juicer that I'm going to use, and I'm also going to use half of the lemon juice. So again, the citrus and the zest are part of the flavoring for our pasta. Okay, so as my noodles are reheating, we're going to get ready and add the extra flavor to the dish. So I'm going to begin by adding my corn that I caramelized, literally a can of corn. There's a little attachment to the video that'll show you any kind of canned vegetable that you put into a warm pan and cook, you sort of saute it in a dry pan. It'll caramelize with its own sugar, and it'll give it a little extra flavor. So that's what I did with that corn. I'm going to let the corn heat up. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add the other ingredients. I'm going to add 1 tomato that I chopped. Now, we added 1 tomato along with the tomato in the soup. This will give it a little bit of freshness, a little bit of extra texture, It might make it look a little bit prettier, so you don't have to add the fresh tomato if you don't have one. Again, this is a good idea for what to do with that extra can of Campbell's soup that you have that you're not quite sure what to do with, right? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my lemon and lemon zest. I'm going to add a little pinch of salt and pepper and stir that through. And again, I'm going to let these noodles heat all the way through with my ingredients. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my ingredients, which here will be the can of vegetarian vegetable soup. Now the reason we use this is when you're looking at a recipe and it's got a tomato base, you don't just have to use canned tomatoes, which we often give you as well. You can use a source of tomato flavor that's in a can of tomato soup or in a can of soup just like the vegetarian soup. It'll give you that tomato base for your dish just as well. And it's a clever way to use that extra can. And you know, it puts a few extra vegetables in here as well. So now I have the noodles and the flavor. I've added the soup. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my cream to the dish. And you can use milk, evaporated milk. You can use water if you need, if you don't have milk. But what the milk will do is give it a little bit of extra richness, a little extra protein to the dish as well. And we're going to use 2/3 of a cup of milk. Now once you put your milk in, you want to be careful that you aren't heating it too high for too long, because the heat will cause the protein in the milk to break or come apart, and it'll give it kind of an unsightly look. It tastes just fine, but it just doesn't look so good. It can get a curdly look, which you want to try to avoid. So once you put your milk in, be sure to watch the heat that you have under your pan. So you can take a look. I've added all those ingredients. I have a couple left. I always leave my herbs for last, especially if you're using tender herbs like we are. In this dish, we're using basil and cilantro. We want the flavor of them, but we don't want them to overcook and really turn a dark color and look bad. I'm now going to add my Parmesan cheese. Stir my cheese in, and again, the cheese will give it a little bit of saltiness, a little bit of flavor, add a little bit more protein to the dish. And who doesn't like a little bit of cheese with their noodles? And then finally, what I'm going to add is my chopped up basil and cilantro. I'm going to give that one stir or two, and then you can see that my dish is complete. So I have a dish that's pasta, some vegetables, some caramelized corn, everything that has a lot of extra flavor, and it really makes a nice side dish or an entree even. If you're you can add a salad with it, or you can add some protein with chicken or any sort of protein that you get from the pantry when you're shopping, and there you have a nice little side dish. Using, again, 2 of the canned foods we offer you, sometimes the canned tomatoes if you need, and a few other fresh ingredients, and you can make this dish. So let me go ahead and just dish some up here. And you can see it's sort of cheesy looking, it's got some color, and there we have it. I'm going to turn my fire off, and there we have it. I hope you can enjoy using this. Again, what I like to tell you is with curiosity, you can do great things in the kitchen. Again, you get a can of Campbell's vegetable soup and you sort of think, what can I do with it? And this is what you can do. So enjoy the bundle bag this week, and we'll see you again.